So in the studio today, we've got Geekom's powerful little mini PC, the IT15. This little beast has up to a Core Ultra 285H. It's the first time we've got our hands on one of these new chips. They do it in two configurations. They also do it with the 225H, but I wanted this 285. So let's unbox it, take a look around, and then test it out. All right, IT series. Lift the box off. Straight away we get the mini PC on the top. Let's see what else we get in here. Oh, it's nice and heavy. UK power cable, nice and bulky. Thank you for your support. Nice little thank you, welcome sort of card and sort of contact information if you have any problems. A small manual. I'll say small, actually that's quite big. That's quite good, we'll look at that in a second. And a very compact power supply. That's quite nice. I'm glad they are reducing the size of these with these mini PCs, because you get a tiny PC. You used to get a power brick that was almost the same size as the actual PC itself. That is lovely and compact. And that's 120 watts, so more than enough power for this little PC. We have some screws so that you can Visa mount this to the back of your monitor if you wish, and a Visa mount plate, and an HDMI cable. That's not bad at all. Right, let's have a look at this. Okay, so looking at the front, you can see we have the power button, a headset jack, and two USB-A's, so a nice amount of front I/O. On the side, we've got a full-size SD card reader, so that's really handy. This is a powerful system, so you could be doing some video editing or photo editing with a box like this, so it's nice that they have included an actual SD card. On the right, as well as all the sort of the venting that you've got on both sides, we do have a Kensington lock, so if you are in an office, you can lock that down. Now, if we look to the rear, at the top you can see that the main venting grill's exhausting that hot air. Then we've got the power jack for our power adapter. Then on the back you can see we've got USB-C with display port. There's two of those, one either side. Another USB-A, and then an older USB 2. So you can see we have two HDMI ports, and we've got a 2.5 gigabit RJ45, which is very handy. We're just moving to 2.5 gigabits in the office for moving those video files around. So going to be really happy to test that one out. Bit naughty, but before we even fire it up, I'm going to just take a quick look inside. Now this comes with a 2 terabyte SSD, and it comes with 32 gigabytes of 5600 DDR5. Now that's the laptop style memory, so they're a bit smaller. There we go. So looking inside, it's nice to see they've got Crucial RAM here. This is the 2 terabyte 80mm SSD. Let's have a quick look. Oh, that's Crucial as well, so it's good to see they're using high quality internals. And we do also have a spare M.2, and that is a 42mm. So we'll try and dig out a 42mm to test that later on as well. Right. It tells you which way is the front, which is quite nice, so you don't get it confused. So you can see that plate here will sit on top of this thermal pad to get that heat off the system. And if we just look underneath the actual SSD, I can see the wireless card is under the SSD as well. So you're probably not going to be able to run double-sided SSDs in there. So it will be a single-sided only. Right, let's put this back together. Nice and easy to get into as well, which is very nice. I like the fact that this is captive screws that they've used as well, so when you do take this apart, you're not going to lose anything. Right, there we go. So I'm just going to quickly stop that there. I'm going to go set this up on a PC and we're going to start testing it out. Okay, so we're now up and running. And before I start talking about the specs and performance of this little machine, I want to talk about what I think is a really key feature with this mini PC. Now, I'm using a Dell ultra-sharp monitor with power delivery and a built-in USB and USB-C and RJ45 hub into this monitor itself. Now, this Geekom can accept power delivery into this actual mini PC. So you'll notice I've got my one power delivery cable plugged into my Geekom here, which is going into my ultra-sharp monitor, and then all of my devices are connected to the monitor, and I don't even need to plug the power supply into the little Geekom. This is such a nice little feature for me because it means I can come into the office, plug in one cable and be completely up and running with my desktop setup. I don't have to worry about plugging in a power supply anywhere, and also going from location to location, grabbing that power supply to take with me. So this, I think, is a really key benefit with this little Geekom machine, and I wish all mini PCs had power delivery enabled. So here's the system details tab about this PC, and you can see we've got the Core Ultra 9 285H, as I mentioned earlier. It comes with 32 gigabytes of RAM, and we've got Windows 11 Pro, which is a really nice feature with these Geekoms as well. You can see in Task Manager here, I've got the CPU selected. You can see the 16 logical cores of this processor. There's no hyperthreading, but this is a very efficient processor. So 16 cores, I think for most people will be more than enough. And it does boost up nicely. We get a 60 watt PL1, so short-term power boost with the CPU, making everything incredibly snappy, and a longer term 30 watt long-term use PL2, which means when you're gaming or using any like rendering or any long-term 100% CPU usage, it will take it down to that 30 watts, which is a really good power budget on these chips for long-term use. And we will be using it for a bit of gaming and testing in a minute. Now, as you can see, the memory, we're getting that 32 gigabytes of 5,600 mega transfers RAM, which is upgradable if you need more than that, and that's a nice feature. And the supplied drive is that Gen 4 SSD, giving us solid read and write performance. You could put a slightly faster Gen 4 drive if you wanted, but the actual one they've supplied gives us just under 5,000 reads and writes anyway, so it's a pretty solid drive that they provided. So looking at the actual performance of the CPU, we'll do that first. Running Geekbench 6, which is a short-term sort of benchmark for the CPU. We've got some really great scores here. A single core score of over 3,000 points is really good for an Intel processor, and a multi-score of 14,818, again, really solid multi-core scores with those 16 cores. Now moving to Cinebench R24, which is like a 10-minute torch test of these actual CPUs. We've got a score of 849, which isn't up there with some of the higher end desktop chips or even some of the actual gaming laptop chips that we've been testing recently. But for a little PC like this, it's actually very impressive and will be more than enough for most people, unless you're really literally crunching CPU all the time. This is going to be enough for you. Then moving to PC Mark 10, which is a general performance of this entire PC, we've got a really good score of 7,826. So it's a nice and nippy little machine. Now moving over to the actual graphics card, we get the new ARC processors in these chips. And this is a big step up for Intel. We had the Iris for years, which were terrible integrated graphics, great for like literally running a monitor, but that's about it. But running Time Spy on this machine, we've got a score of 3,798 on that GPU, which is faster than a lot of these mobile Ryzen chips that you get in the mini PCs. That's really impressive. Now we have been using the MSI Claw with a similar processor on the handheld, and we've been really impressed on that handheld, which had that ARC graphics, and really impressed here. We're going to run a couple of games in a minute to see how well it runs in actual games. Also, we ran the Geekbench 6 OpenCL score of 40,805. Again, very impressive for this on-chip GPU. So this is one of the main reasons to get one of these newer Intel processors. Big step up in that GPU performance. So then even without an eGPU or any other more powerful graphics, this is going to be great for things like your Blender, for your Photoshop. It's going to cut through anything like that. Obviously, office work is a breeze with a machine like this. It feels incredibly snappy. I have also done a little bit of DaVinci Resolve, and it even managed my 4K multicam timeline and even a few transition and effects. I wouldn't want to use this for my day-to-day editing with like heavy 4K multicam workflows, but for just a few shorts or for some lighter video editing, this is absolutely perfect. Okay, so just firing up some popular esports titles. I'm going to start with a bit of Dota 2. Now, this is running at 4K, but with obviously render scaling and sort of lower settings. Looks really good though. And as you can see, we're pulling about 35 watts and we're doing about 68C. Now I've got this has 3 fan settings in BIOS, silent, balanced and performance. I've put it in performance mode, and even then, let's see how loud this is in performance mode. So 45 decibels for max fan. I mean, if you're used to gaming laptops and you know how loud those get, this is a really pleasant whoosh in the background. And as you can see, it's nice and stable at this 30 odd watts, just 33 still, and we're getting great playable frame rates at over 100 frames per second. I can even dial that in with some higher settings and probably still get well over 80 frames per second if you want slightly better looking graphics. But 4K low settings still looks really good. And for esports, you normally want that higher frames per second. So here we have Apex. This is at 1080p, and as you can see, we're getting good frames per second, still sitting at that 30 watts. And this is a much more demanding title, especially for an FPS. This is completely playable. So as you can see, really impressive performance from such a tiny little machine at 30 watts. Now, we've been using our Claw handheld with the similar graphics cards, and we've been loving that at 30 watts. So this here is going to make a really great gaming box. So as you can see, really impressive performance, keeps that about 33 odd watts, which is absolutely fantastic for this little ARC graphics and this really efficient sort of mobile chip. So there we go, this is a really efficient chip for both work and play. This will cut through your day-to-day workload for anything from Photoshop to Blender to video editing, Officeworks to Breeze, for content consumption, and you can also get a fair amount of gaming done with this really impressive ARC graphics card. We've been really loving this new GPU in our MSI Claw handhelds, and we're really loving it in this mini PC, and it makes a great esports little gaming box. So overall, this is a really fantastic machine. And one thing I want to mention as well, when we were researching this PC, we found that Geekom had tested the rigidity of this little box and actually run it over. And despite running the machine over and abusing it in all manners of ways, it still kept running. So this is a sort of mini PC that you can literally just take anywhere with you, throw around, and you know it's going to survive. So there we go, that's our thoughts and testing of the new Geekom IT15. I'm loving this new processor, and this is a lovely little box. Now, I will put links in the description down below if you want to go check this one out. Any questions, as always, I'm going to get back to you. And lastly, thanks for watching.